Welcome to Gulfstream Park. It is December 26, 2014. Christina Basanakis, Ron Nicoletti, and the day after Christmas. And we have a little bit of rain here, but it's been a nice week.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a very little bit of rain. We're going to start the day with a good main track. We got a firm turf course. Turf course could definitely use some moisture in it, so no real rain to speak of right now. You know, we got carryovers in both the Rainbow Six and in the Pick 5. The Rainbow Six, over $56,000. That starts in race number 5. And we also got a nice carryover in the Super High 5 of $20,506. They will bet a lot of money at this. You can mark this down right now. They've been betting this thing, and somebody's been hitting it for some really nice prices. If you're not aware of the Super High 5, it's the last race each and every day, a $1 wage. You got to pick the first 5 finishes in the race, and like I say, it's been paying great. Christina, how was your couple of days off?
Oh, it was really nice, and we did have a little bit of rain yesterday, as you said, but it's just it's such a nice time of year, and you know, some time to just reboot for the beginning of for the next year, for the new year. So we have a lot to look forward to. And actually, today's card, Ron, I think is there's some really good options. A couple of races that I'm really keen on getting to, but we're going to start with the first race on the card, which is a maiden special weight, and it is for 2-year-olds, and you know I love those. 6 furlongs on the main track. We do have a jockey change, and that's number 4, Oriel Chavez, and we also have a couple of unpublished works for number 5, Don Tirso Q, and on 12:15 at the Thoroughbred Champions Training Center, we had 3 furlongs over fast track and 40 flat, and 12:19, which was December 19th, was 4 furlongs on fast track 51. So that's the unpublished work. We don't have those. We didn't have those. And I went with number 7, Bullyproof, from the Todd Fletcher barn. I think he's going to be the one to beat. Now, Ron, you and I were talking about this a few days ago. He was up at Saratoga with Todd, and there seems to be a break. He was training pretty forwardly, a couple of nice works as well. July 15th was the last work. He actually was entered July 24th. He was scratched, and then he wasn't seen again. He was at Croupies, so it seems like he was probably recovering from something, and he worked again on October 31st. Having said all that, he's had 4 works since. So I'm looking for actually 5 works since he's been away. So I think he's got a good enough foundation to win first time out.
Yeah, I'm going to defer to you with the first time starters from Todd Fletcher. I picked the one on top, and it's number 7 second. And, you know, I didn't know how to separate them. That's good enough reason. I just went with the number 1 course. Javier Castellano will be on it. Johnny V will be riding at 7. And I went with the number 6 Quality Bird in third. He's turning back to 3/4. Showed some late interest in his 7 furlong debut at Churchill. Trainer Ian Wilkes, he's pretty good with maidens making their second start, 20%. Adds Lasix as the son of Quality Road. So if the 2 first-time starters from Todd Fletcher are not well, you might want to go with the number 6. And I'm looking at the board right now, very early in the wagering, and the 6 is up there 3-5.
No, at 3-5, taking a lot of money, a son of Quality Road, and those Quality Roads, they've been doing pretty well. They're getting better as the season's going on, too, and they were very well received as yearlings and as 2-year-olds. So, and Ian Wilkes, you never expect them to be fully cranked first time out. So, very interesting to see that race. On to the second race on the card, which kicks off the early Pick 4. It is a $25,000 maiden claiming event, 6 furlongs on the main track. We've got fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. We do have a jockey change. Number 7, Fabled Star, will be ridden by Jesus Rios. We should make a point to just mention Edgar Prado, who's off his mounts today, went down on Tuesday. I'm losing track of what day it was, and it looked like a harrowing fall, but he seems to be okay. I know that he had a cut on his
laceration. His helmet actually cracked, and he got a laceration on his face. He's body sore, but you know, he's going to be okay. Put it that way. So Edgar Prado, it was an ugly looking fall, but he bounced back. These jockeys are amazing. So he will be off his mounts for at least today. We'll let you know as the weekend progresses what happens with Edgar Prado. We both went with the number 7 up here, Fabled Star, dropping a notch, moving to the main track after just getting beaten neck. That was in a $30,000 debut, going 5 furlongs, Gulfstream Park West, third, Ralph Nix. Good with the grass to dirt move, 22%.
I think the pedigree also would suggest Awfully Wild. It would suggest that she'll be able to take to the dirt, and I'm looking for that move. On to number 5, and Geisha Peebles, I threw her into. She was entered actually the other day. She scratched out in favor of this spot, and I think on the drop she's gonna be very pretty useful. One horse that I know that I want to that I included, number 1, Two Pot House. I'm really going to give this filly a look when I see her out in the paddock, and I think if we get a price on her, she might be a good one to support here.
Yeah, but she's got a steady morning work.
Yeah.
We're in total agreement with our 3 selections here. I don't know if that's good or bad, but we are in total agreement with in the second race of the afternoon.
Onto the third race on the card, and it is another maiden special weight. It is for maiden, it's fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, and it's a mile 3/16 on the turf. And we do have a jockey change. Number 6 place card will be ridden by Rafael Hernandez. And my top selection, I went with number 3, and that's Skybird. And I see you didn't even use Skybird. Now, that last race was on the yielding turf course. That was a 1.5 miles. And keep in mind, Ron, she was running, not only was she running against older horses, she's a 3-year-old filly, she was running against older horses. That was also allowance company. Most of these fillies have been running against maidens. It almost reads to me like Nick Zito, they didn't really have a spot for her. They ran her there without, and she was still a maiden. So I'm willing to throw that out. It was on the yielding turf course. She's actually half to Declan's Warrior, who's a nice horse from the Nick Zito barn. And I'm hoping she's going to run back to her earlier race. You look at that race at August 17th at Saratoga. It's a pretty good one, and I think she's going to run back.
Well, that's good, because I didn't put her on the ticket, so I'm going to have to listen to you guys. I went with the 4 Queens Parade, returning to what is clearly looks like her preferred surface after showing some early interest in fading. That was in a 1 mile maiden special weight test move from the turf. That was moved to a sloppy main track at Belmont, the daughter of Giants Causeway. 2 for 2 in the money at this distance, has been training steadily for the first start since mid-October. Went to the inside with number 1 Pure of Spirit, and 2nd Barkley Tag, Javier Castellano. And what about number 5, Lone Lily, who posted a couple of really sharp outings on the turf in Kentucky, including a 3rd place finish, beating the length. I just think this horse can run well in this spot, you know, going back to the turf today.
I agree, and I like Lone Lily as well. And again, she's another one that I'm curious to see what price we're going to get her. Eddie Keneally, with these types, are very, very dangerous.
Just to mention that the early pick 4 started in race 2. Go a little deep in this one.
I think it sounds like it, doesn't it? It does sound like it. And also, we'll keep track, Ron. We will be looking at in terms of the turf course right now. The turf is still firm. It's listed as firm.
Right.
The track is good, but it'll also be interesting going forward for some of these races.
Yeah, you'll see those for early first race on the turf. Just give it a look-see and see how the turf course is playing, and maybe we'll get lucky. We won't have any other kind of rain today. As of now, firm turf course should be absolutely no problem.
Sure should. On to the 4th race on the card. It is a starter optional claiming event. It is with a claiming price of $35,000. 7 furlongs on the main track. My top selection, this is almost like a stake, a Southern Florida stake, and I went with number 1, and that's Centrique. I know that you went with her from the Marty Wolfson barn. In fact, we seem to be almost in agreement. We threw number 6, Making Havoc, underneath, but Centrique, she really is going to be, I think she's the mare to beat. I thought ran a pretty good race last time, and Ron, we'll take a look at the start of her latest race. She didn't have the greatest of starts, and you see right there, she spots the field a few lengths.
Yeah, you can't spot that field. The thing, that was the Sugar Squirrel. It was great through. It was a small but a really nice field, and basically the game was over when she broke like that. So Marty Wilson has Javier Castellano in the saddle. Centrique is definitely the one to beat. She likes this distance. 7 furlongs, 5 starts, 2 wins. So 2 for 5 at 7 furlongs, Making Havoc. And then I went with very cherry candy, moved to the Giuseppe Isodernia bond via the claiming route. Thought I'd throw that one in on the trifecta and exacta ticket.
Centrique, my only concern, she hasn't won since last January. I think she needs a little bit of a confidence booster too. Maybe that's why she's in here. She's not running in a stake because she's really been running in stakes company and Making Havoc, speed. I think that's going to be her weapon in here, and I think it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of other speed, so I think that's why you want to throw her into the mix. We're going to take a short break, folks, and we'll come back and have a look at the 5th race on the card that kicks off the 20-cent Rainbow Six.
Gulfstream Park is one of Florida's top entertainment destinations, mixing restaurants, clubs, a casino, and international boutique shops with world-class racing. In a lavish, sun-drenched setting with the feel of a Mediterranean village, Gulfstream is a leading year-round entertainment and tourist destination and the home of luxury residences in 2014. The Stronach family, owners of Gulfstream Park, is committed to the sport of thoroughbred racing and the grace, spirit, and generosity of the horse.
The Rainbow Six is back and it's better than ever. Now with a 20-cent base wager, it will expand the market for the popular bet. And in addition to doubling the base wager, the percentage return for the winners on the day the jackpot isn't hit increases to 70%, with 30% going to the carryover pool for the next program. Gulfstream Park, first post, 12:35 p.m. each and every day.
Welcome back to Gulfstream Park. We're going to have a look at the 5th race on today's card, which kicks off the 20-cent Rainbow Six. There is a carryover over $56,000. We do have a scratch, number 5, and a jockey change. Number 3, Red Minx, will be ridden by Juan Leiva. And Ron, I thought this race was, again, here's another competitive race, and a couple of fillies that I've seen running throughout the year and I'm pretty fond of. I went with number 8, and that's a Principessa Ava, and this is an Irish-bred daughter of Ad Valorem, very useful stallion over in Europe. Last time she was just beaten a neck by a really nice filly named Bohemian Dance. Now, Bohemian Dance is running tomorrow in the Grade 3 La Prévoyance. So, again,
keeping good company.
It shows a little bit of form, right?
Yeah, and I used it too, run top for all the reasons you mentioned. And Jonathan Shepard is the trainer, and Rafael Hernandez in the saddle. I know we both used number 3, Red Minx, too.
Yeah, we did use a Red Mix from the Milton Wilson barn, and just for me it was a question of the distance, which is why I didn't, one of the reasons I didn't put her on top, although she finished very close up to a filly named Marbre Rose from the Christophe Clement barn last time in the South Beach, and I thought very, very impressive. I think she's a nice filly. You've got to have her among your selections. But we're going to take a look, and let's just look at what Marty Wolfson had to say about number 1, Wait No More. Wait No More, her dirt debut. She really didn't show her best. Getting back to the turf here this time, this daughter Medaglia d'Oro and out of Champion, wait a while. Let's see what Marty had to say.
It was the dirt, and she's training very good, and Johnny's riding her, and he used to ride the mother for Todd, so he knows the family. He rode Wait a While for so many big races, so that's why I want him to ride this filly.
So that was trainer Marty Wolfson about number 1, Wait No More. He's commenting this filly, she's impeccably bred. Her dam, in fairness, her dam did all of her best running on the turf. And she was a champion. She was champion 3-year-old, but she really a very, very nice filly. This filly is actually a half to Zykov. Zykov, who's a nice horse, who actually ran well here on the dirt for trainer Todd Pletcher. So again, they thought they'd give her a shot on the dirt, didn't work out.
What about number 6, Ruby Indy, who you used too? You have it actually in second, lightly raced daughter of Bernardini, finished second in her only previous turf race. Going back to the grass today for top-notch connections, Chad Brown, jockey Javier Castellano, and I think you got to have this horse on your Rainbow Six ticket. I mean, I think this horse is going to run exceptionally well, so I'm going to use all 3 horses in there. You know, Principessa Ava, Red Minx, and Ruby Indy.
Ruby Indy, I really liked last year when she broke her maiden here, and I thought that she was a stakes caliber filly, and she's kind of been an on-again, off-again kind of filly, but if anybody can put her back on the straight and narrow, it's going to be Chad Brown. And she hasn't raced since November 6th, but that was in the slop, and I agree. I think she's one of those that you're going to have on your ticket. We move on to the 6th race on today's card, which kicks off the Pick 5, and we do have a couple of scratches. Number 13, number 16, a jockey change. Number 7 will be ridden by Rafael Hernandez, and my top selection was number 9, and that's Grand Rapport from the Eddie Keneally barn, and last time was second. Now that was back on November 10th at Aqueduct, going 9 furlongs. But if you look at her previous race, he has been running in he ran in a stake a couple starts back, and his number came back pretty good. North Slope and Slumber, who he finished behind that day, they're running in stakes tomorrow.
Yeah, we're in agreement with number 9, Grand Report, for all the reasons you mentioned. And I also used the number 10, Awesome Attack. It's back in South Florida after shipping up to Tampa to defeat $16,000 claimers going a mile. I think he figures on the ticket. The only thing I had is his record at the distance. 12 previous races, no wins. So I'm not really enamored with using him maybe on the top of my ticket, but I'm going to use him somewhere on a ticket. I got a scratch in here of number 13, Broome Street, so I used the number 14, Rooney. Now when the Mike Tomlinson bond makes his first start, ran pretty good at Churchill Downs against $20,000 starter allowance competition.
I also, again, look to start the, we were just talking that kicks off the pick 5, and look at how, except for our top selection, we seem to be all over the place. So I also threw in number 5, put it forward, and ran, if you look at a couple, last start was pretty good. Again, switching to the turf here today, and that's going to be the question mark, but I think hopefully he's got a bit of turn of foot, and he can be forwardly placed. On to the 7th race on today's card, and it is a 12-5 maiden claimer, and it is for 2-year-old fillies, 5.5 furlongs on the main track. We do have a couple scratches, number 1, number 14, and this kicks off the late pick 4. And my top selection, I went with number 8, and that's Lion Soul from the Ralph Nix barn, 3rd, but a well-beaten 3rd last time. Took money that day. I thought that was a useful effort again, and by this filly's by Cantheros, and Cantheros, leading freshman sire and leading Florida sire. His horse is very precocious, so I think all given on the drop, Ralph Nix. I think there's just so many things that I like about this.
Yeah, and the horse that ran in Yes Blue came back and win its next start, but I did go with the number 3, Scooper Sue. This one is dropping to the $12,500 level in the dirt, setting the early pace and fading, but that was against $35,000 maidens going 7.5 furlongs on the turf. Steve DeMauro adds a second-time blinkers, and jockey Luis Saez, and you know me, I'm always a sucker for the turf-to-dirt mood, so I got number 3, Scuba Sue on top, Lion Soul, and then I threw in the number 7, Catskill Flyer, because I lost my 3rd pick, which was the 1, Cherry's Win. Catskill Flyer, plunging to the bottom, didn't know what to do with this horse. First time Lasix, ran against better, but it's a while back, coming against this cheaper competition. Might be one of those horses you're not quite sure of, but you got to put it on your late pick 4 ticket, because you don't want that kind of horse to beat you, dropping down, coming off a long layoff. So I used it on there. And want to remind everybody, both on Saturday and Sunday, the late pick 4 will have a $100,000 guarantee. So just add that to your excitement for this weekend.
I did use number 7, Catskill Flyer, Wildcat Air, Precocious Offspring, and again, I'm willing to throw that last race out. The Lasix, first time Lasix to me was a bit of a, let's pay attention to this horse. So I think this horse might be the one that we're going to want to look at, especially in the paddock. On to the 8th race on today's card, and is a maiden special weight. It's for 3-year-olds and up. It's a 7.5 furlongs on the turf course. We have several scratches in there, and that is number 8, number 11, 12, and 16. And again, we have a few also from the also eligibles on that list, but we'll have Larry Colmus come on in just a few moments, and he'll give us all the updated scratches and changes for today. And my top selection, I went with number 1, and that's Melville. Kieran McLaughlin trains this one, and again, this is almost the poster child Kieran kind of 3-year-old coming into these maiden races. A couple of very useful efforts in his last 2 races. I think he's going to step forward off of that run. And last time he caught a bit of a slow early pace, and he still ran a pretty good race, I thought. But he's going to be the one to beat, I think.
Yeah, we're in agreement with him. He's a, Javier Castellano. He's a gelded son of Street Cry. Looks like the logical choice. I know we both used number 3, Cup of Joe in here. Makes the 3rd start of his current form cycle. I know you wanted to go back and show a race of his. Cup of Joe, pretty nice performer.
Well, and a big reason that I wanted to show this race, and that was at Keeneland, October 18th. We'll have a look at that. But Ron, if you look at this race, you're going to see he runs a really bang-up race to finish 2nd. Now, having said that, look at the horse that's at the wire, who's 3/4 of a length in front of him.
Right.
His name is Skyflight. Skyflight just won the Tropical Park Derby here last weekend.
Right.
So if that form holds up, this horse is going to run another big one. And Brian Lynch, you can never discount Brian
No,
Lynch.
he's been doing absolutely great. And by the way, his horses look fantastic. I used the number 5 Sum Up in here. This is a half-brother to the Grade 1 Ballerina Stakes, win a Turbulent Descent, makes his career debut for trainer Christophe Clement. String of solid workouts up at Payson Park. The barn, 21% with their debut turf runners as Joe Bravo. That's their go-to jock. I just thought I'd add this horse in here, number 5, Sum Up.
In summation, actually, that horse's sire, he's pretty good with his first-time starter, so that's a good selection. Christophe, he's very well known in that regard. The sleeper, I think, in that race, number 10. And that's Avea. This is a colt by Giants Causeway. The Dam Gossamer, she's a lovely, lovely Seattle Slew mare. I think that's going to be your hidden value. You look at those last couple of starts; those were on the main track. Now we're getting back to the turf. And Ron, his numbers were better on the turf. So I think there's a little bit some hidden value for Bobby Roboto. And Bobby Roboto, he's been doing with 2 horses so far at the meet.
Yeah.
He's hit the board, a win in the second, so he's always a guy you've got to watch. Guys, that's your hidden value for today, and that's number 10, Bea. On to the 9th race on today's card, and it is an allowance optional claiming with a claiming price of $100,000 and 7 furlongs on the main track. A couple of scratches. Number 6, Little Daddy. Number 9, Simstown. Both those horses are going to the Mr. Prospector, and they're running tomorrow. Corey Lannery is going to be aboard number 7. That's a hip for 69. And my top selection, I actually backed into this one, although I'm really happy about it right now, is number 4, and that's Midnight Cello. And Ron, look at that start, 2 starts back. He finishes behind Valid, who came back and and that was at Gulfstream Park West, October 8th, but he just ran a bang-up race, did Valid. And if you just look at even his last start, we're looking at that start right now. Bang-up race, and he finishes behind a really nice horse.
Yeah, and he got a triple-digit buyer, got 100 buyer speed figure for that performance behind his stablemate Valid. That was in the 8 Miles West back on October 11, and I think he should respond favorably to the surface switch today, turning back to 7 furlongs, all those things you like to see. And I did not scratch into him. I had him right on top all along. I also used the number 5, which you did too. We're actually in total agreement here with Purple Egg making his first start since returning from a layoff. He ran a really nice second. Talking about running against somebody, he ran against the classy Grade 2 winner, Bahamian Squall. That was in a $62,000 optional claimer. Jane Sabelli, Javier Castellano, and then we also used the number 8, Vicuna. Hasn't been seen since he reeled off 3 consecutive victories during 2013 and early 2014. Guess what? It's Todd Pletcher. He's good with this type of layup. Do not leave him off the ticket.
Yeah, I don't think you can leave him off the ticket. It's a very, very competitive race, one I look forward to. On to the final race on today's card is a 20,000 claiming event, and it is a 1 1/8 on the turf course. We do have a scratch, number 16, and we also have a jockey change. Number 7, Cheyenne Nation, will be ridden by John Velasquez, and I'm very pleased. John Velasquez is going to be aboard my top selection, and that's number 7, Cheyenne Nation, and was previously with Rudy Rodriguez and now in the barn of Chad Brown. But again, I think that on numbers, this one seems to stack up very well.
I went with the 12, Tiz Sardanic Joe. This one is plunging to this $20,000 claim 11. First starts in facing considerably tougher when racing on the turf at Churchill, Arlington Park, and Saratoga. Wesley Ward, this horse traveled with Wesley Ward throughout the summer. Orlando Boca Chica topped the previous winner on this turf course, got the 7 for all the reasons you mentioned. And then, of course, you got to have number 3, Sneaky Kitten.
I think that we have it for because you did say earlier Super High 5. We have a Super High 5 in that last race, so you're going to use several of these horses. But I think it's a pretty wide open race.
Yeah, pretty wide open race, over 20,000 in the pool. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, been paying great numbers, so you might want to become a Super High 5 aficionado.
That's it for Ron and myself for now. We'll be back for the rest of the afternoon, and Larry Colmus will come on in just a minute and give you all the changes and scratches for today. Folks, stick around. We've got a good one on tap.